I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was coming from another meeting and it was running over.
Oh, no,
It's
that's
like
okay. That's okay.
right when it's like you think that it's all going to be okay, and then it's like, oh, not. People get a little emotional
Yeah.
towards the end. So, so hi, I'm Latasha, as you know. um, and I know like it's always nerve wracking, especially I mean to have a Monday morning interview. It's not kind of it's not nothing like get the nerves going on a Monday morning and being ready for that. So I
Yeah.
try to make it somewhat painless or not as less painful as possible. It's not going to be painless, I should say.
Sure.
But just because it's just the natural nature of the beast in these situations. Um, but I usually I kind of tell a bit about myself, and then I allow if you want to tell me anything about yourself. We'll ask a few questions, and I mean, like within the categories that we have, and I try to let you know about the categories. The one thing I will tell you is, as you know, we have multiple questions. And if you want me to ask you a different question, I can absolutely do so within that category. If you don't feel like you have a good answer for the one that is there, I'm very open to that. Don't look at that negatively. And then the other thing is, if you need a few minutes to look at your notes so that you have a good example, then feel free to do so. Let me know you need a minute to think. It's not a big deal for me. So,
Sure.
So we'll kind of go through that, roll like that. All right. I'm gonna try to leave a few minutes at the end if you have any questions.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I perform a couple different roles within the area, and actually I'm going to turn on my light. I didn't realize how dark this was. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, that's better. Like even for me. So I am an analyst within the group, but then I also, it's like my role is a little bit unique. So it's not your typical norm title or role. I'm the portfolio analyst, which means that myself, as well as, it's like I'm on the planning, what we call the planning team, and we handle the projects that are assigned to the teams every quarter. So if at the beginning of the quarter, we kind of balance out the capacity as well as strengths of the teams and the different, nuances that might be going on with the team in that quarter, and then assign the efforts accordingly, as well as throughout the quarter. If the team needs work, then like myself and the others will work through and see what's best to assign them, and then get them assigned and get them going. In addition, if there's any type of challenges or anything preventing them from moving forward, those are things that myself and TJ, who's our technical delivery owner, work through and help the teams kind of overcome whatever challenges they're having or whatever's causing them to not be able to move forward. So, and also look for efficiencies. In addition to that, I'm also the lead of the ADOs, or the Agile Delivery Owners. They used to be called Scrum Masters. In our org, we have 4 of them. So I help lead them.
Oh, great.
That's what
I think my current role and your role is quite a similar one. Like I'm working as a
Okay.
test lead, but more or less those kind of responsibility I also born in my current team. But yeah, that's
Okay.
great to know. It's like
Okay.
you are
Cool.
wearing multiple hats. And
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very good. So
Sure.
do you want to tell me a little bit more about you?
Sure. Yeah. So I have been part of ERO. I joined as a contractor to Progressive, but converted to full time. So right now I'm working as a QA program lead for this telematics program called Accident Response Detection. I was hired from day one to create new team like this, because this project was started first time for the Scrum work. So I was hired to create and establish new QA teams with a combination of manual QAs and STEs, like our automation test engineers. So we just completed our 2 phases successfully in deployment, like the production deployment, and 2024 has been a significant rollout for us, because we have gained a market share of almost 17%, which was back then, like when this project started, it was just I think 11 and 12%. And we also inclined our position from 4 to 2 in the market. Like it was 4th position for Progressive. Now we are second behind State Farm. And as part of my 15 years of IT experience, I specialize in program management, team management. I work as a software developer. I started my career as a software developer. Then I switched the role as QA leads, program leads. I also work as a Scrum Master for a very short period of time. And in my past position, most of the time, my experience was with telecommunication companies like AT&T, British Telecom, and Spectrum Mobile. And as a great achievement, I would say, for working with AT&T and Spectrum, uh, I was actually responsible to create a retail program, QA team, where we have established the retail program successfully in production. And in the very first 2 years, we actually gained almost 3 million customer for Spectrum Mobile, which was a huge success for us. And in addition to that, even a lot of our existing internet service service account holders, they also moved to the Spectrum Mobile because of the good plan, the cheaper options. So that was a good milestone for us. Right now, we in progressive in the current project, I have been continuing in the same project work where we have some ARE enhancement going on, and we have a lot of coordination and collaboration with multiple platform teams, because I have been working in this cross-functional project where we work with direct coding teams, M&A mobile native apps, vendors. So my day-to-day practice goes with because we work in a Scrum, so I am responsible to lead my QA teams, provided those improvement suggestions for automation and test designing, defect management, and I also work as a collision between multiple teams to resolve their daily problems, providing the estimates for the new user stories and the new feature work. So that's pretty much my day-to-day job these days in this project.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Okay, so ready to get started?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So this section is in aligning performance for success. So, have you had direct reports before?
I did.
Okay. All right. So describe or tell me what you've done to ensure direct reports have adequate resources and opportunities to work on improving their performance.
Sure. So in my last project, I'll take the example of Spectrum Mobile, because we were just having this new retail program inception, and we were supposed to create a new team where a lot of new technology we were supposed to create the infrastructure with, mostly in the AWS service and the Snowflake data, the Salesforce. And since we were hiring new resources, there was external and internal hiring, so there were a lot of challenges in terms of adopting the new technology and learning the business domain, and adopting those kind of technology to do their day-to-day job. And since I have been I had that kind of skill set, so what I did initially, I created a lot of documentation for team, and also created a lot of training sessions, because it was very important to have that kind of basic information to understand what the requirements are, how to achieve those kind of test design, test execution, and raising the right defect, finding those early problems in the QA cycle rather than slipping into the production. So I think initially creating those detailed documentation and the kind of training sessions really help our team to speed up on the actual work when we started having our PI planning and the sprint work started. So I think that was a great milestone for them, because by providing that kind of basic and technical information to them, they were able to do their job effectively, which not just increase their operational efficiency, but they were able to do their job independently. And I think within the very first year, we were able to achieve almost 200 to 300 user story work while for the phase 1 deployment, which was very successful.
Okay. I'm just capturing the last part.
Sure.
Okay. Coaching and developing others. So most leaders have coached someone who failed to improve. Tell me about a time you worked with someone who failed to improve.
So that's a good question, actually. I have multiple instances, but I will like to take this one particular. So we have this one particular QA resource. She came into our team like in during the Spectrum Mobile work. She came from a background where she did not work in IT earlier, and she got this job as a QA profile. So initially, after providing all those training session and the test documentation in terms of what kind of feature requirement and the work we were getting, she used to understand everything during the like team conversation and everything. In the very first few sprint, I realized that even after providing all those information, having one-to-one sessions or with the team discussion, she was not able to do her job effectively. Like even providing those basic information, she was still reaching out to multiple folks, and it's kind of doing that conversation. It creates inefficiency for others people because it kind of reduce the productivity. And maybe she was not taking the documents, like the notes in the documents, or she was not paying attention. So for the first few sprints, I observed her performance, and I also got feedback from my other QAs that she reaches out to same things again and again, which not just create problem for their time to manage, but it also doesn't really help her to do the job effectively. So after observing this multiple sprint, I actually had one-to-one conversation with her to understand what are the challenges she is facing, what kind of struggle she is facing, which is not helping her to improve on the productivity or day-to-day work. And then I talked to her, understood her challenges, and based on that, I created a development plan for her, just to work with me one to one rather than reaching out to multiple folks, because I was working as a SMEs for my project also. So even most of the time when she used to ask some questions where our QAs were not aware, they used to reach out to me. So it was like a cycle throughout that project work. So I created one-to-one development plan for her. I constantly worked with her, monitored her progress, whatever the information I was providing and kind of the work I was assigning to her. And I used to provide the direction, not just giving the direct information, but also asking her questions, like where she, after providing that information, if she reaches out to me next time, I used to ask her those questions to challenge her, like what the information, how she used the information, what were the different conclusions, what are the different points. So by having that challenge, she understood the task and she became a little proactive. She started also noting down the points apart from whatever documentation and training I was providing. So I think by having that streamlined process in terms of the note taking, keeping a proactive approach from her side to try rather than waiting for some inputs being provided by either other QAs or me as a team lead. So I think that really helped her to gain that pace in terms of doing independent test planning, test execution, and also raising the defects. But there were some problems I observed, that she was still missing some key defects which were coming as part of QA deployment. So eventually we were finding some production defect. And I think based on that, I realized that even after providing some information, she was able to do the QA job, but there were critical bugs she was not able to find, which was slipping into the production. So that's the case I observed. Yeah. I think I feel sometimes that IT background really helps, and that doesn't mean that people cannot really learn, but I think it also comes internally, that if you really want to, learn and challenge yourself, because people be there for you to help you out. But until unless if you aren't taking proactive actions in terms of what really growth mindset should be, I think you might fail sometimes.
So how did she end? Did she end up improving at all or no?
Yeah, she did. We kept her for a initial IT training program, because there were a lot of things which was supposed, like the testing QA processes, right? Even those basic information, like anytime if you go to any industry, and if someone asks you the QA basic question, I think she used to struggle with those things, because to relate with the problem what she worked earlier, which was not really the same domain. So I think we kept her on a training pool for sometimes, just to start with the basic information, like how to really optimize the testing effort, what kind of basic training we required for QAs when they switch to QA roles. And I think working with her on that, and also working closely with her manager, because she was my direct reportee, but when we moved her into pool, her manager was changed. So I think we three worked together for her, providing all the information. She was really she really improved on that. And then we took her to the same work, but assigned to the different task and position.
Cool. All right, facilitating change. Describe a time when change caused a problem for your group or your department.
So the last stage which we deployed in production, basically there was one API which was heavily used in all the different cross-functional platforms, not just in the backend team, because we are working as a backend team in the current telematics program. And I remember after the production deployment, there was one API which has some unique edge scenarios that was causing problem in production. So then, because that was a small change required, but the testing effort in terms of the customer flow impact was huge. So it was decided that we will be having some new enhancement as part of this API, because it was used in like 20 plus application and in 20 plus application code. So when the design solution was provided, it was a huge effort on manual QA side, which we wanted to avoid, because not all of the scenarios we could test in the manual QA. So what we came with an approach, I led that effort with our automation lead, that we might need to cover all the unit test coverage for those edge case scenario, and whatever possibility we could have in the system integration task. So I again created some 100 plus scenarios for our STs to look over and incorporate those scenarios in the automation suite, so that we have a good coverage. And it was a huge effort. It was a critical high priority effort, because it was impacting a lot of production scenarios, and it was also creating a lot of noise in terms of production platform production support monitoring efforts. So within the 1 week, I created those 100 plus scenarios, worked with our STs, incorporated the high priority test cases in automation. And it was a huge effort, because we were in the sprint parallel work also, plus the production support, and then this new enhancement came, which was requiring a very high critical delivery. So I worked with my STs, implemented those test cases, uh, which collectively came to be total 7,000 automation test cases, and which took only like 3 to 4 hours. I think even lesser than that. And it was a huge success. It was a new change for us, because we also needed to do the risk based analysis, what other QA flows may be impacted, or regression flow. And by doing that proper impact analysis, which I did in my team with working with ST's tech lead, provided that kind of plan. We executed that plan and delivered that new enhancement in the production, which really gained a good pace and the operational efficiency, not for our production support monitoring team, but also for the customer. It created a new value.
Okay, cool. All right. Inspiring others is this next category. So, describe some steps you've taken to show others how you support the organization's vision, values, and initiatives.
Sure. So as in this project, which is a kind of very complex in nature, because it is the telematics domain where we collect users data, the trip and context. And so the data which we store in multiple system is really in complex in nature. And working through different application code and cross functional teams, it's always becomes primary responsibility from backend team, that we do the right job, the kind of product delivery, so that other vendors and customers, or even the mobile native app users, like which are one of the prime platform for this project, they are not getting less negative impact, like they are not getting a lot of negative impact. So as part of this initial program, when I was hired to create this new QA team, like the new QA Scrum team, it was one team. But as the work started growing, we split it to the multiple Scrum team. Basically, we have two backend teams and then other platform teams of the Scrum. And when we hired QAs or the STs, they were not aware of the new AWS technology, like in terms of how to do the data analysis, how to retrieve the different information from multiple systems using the queries, and how to utilize that information into their day-to-day work of test planning, test execution, and doing the defect management. So because initially I was the only QA person, I was working as a QA lead also, but I was also bearing all those QA testers responsibility. So I already created a lot of document, because for me it was very challenging at the very start of this project, because I was new to Progressive. I did not know the domain. I did not know. I had worked in telecommunication domain, but insurance was new to me, and considering the new requirement, new project work, it was too much. So I created those kind of documentation. And I have observed one thing here, that initially when QA used to come working on those kind of user story, they did not have a lot of documentation in terms of test results. And sometimes when we used to work on the new user story, which might be impacted with the previous work we have done, it was very hard to correlate those kind of test results, like what went wrong. If something is going wrong as part of new development, we always used to trace back the previous work we have delivered. So, and that sometimes used to create a lot of confusion also, because we were working in two teams. So one team was working on something and other team was working something. And as part of QA work, it used to be very integrated, like it was not in isolation. Even the dev work used to be very independent. So what I have, because a lot of things happening with the interdependency even with the two Scrum team in the backend team, sometimes they used to have some code merge issues or deployment issue, or even the testing miss sometimes, because the person working, the one QA or ST working in one particular Scrum team, sometimes they are not aware of the other work, and they used to slip those kind of situation or testing, which used to create a problem in production. So in the earlier few sprint, when I observed these things, and also the proper test, lack of proper test documentation, I have everyone together and created a development plan in terms of proper test documentation, the test result documentation, how we can track that QA metrics in our ADO, because ADO is such a tool that it provides a seamless experience for everything, like all the test management activities, the testing dashboard, in terms of if we need to show something to client and sponsors. So I created those details and showed to team that how we need to do in order to make sure that we have a effective planning being documented, effective execution being documented. At any point of time, if we have some confusion, we can come together with an open forum of discussion or questions being asked, or clarified those questions. So I think having that kind of daily discussion and an approach being followed, it really increased the confidence in everyone, because I used to test and I used to provide those kind of examples to team to follow. So they like that idea in terms of Excel sheet or radio documentation. And I think that not just raised their confidence in work, but they also had a quite of operational efficiency being increased in the test execution. I think we started having quite good defect being found in the QA cycle. And we also suggested, like I also suggested teams to really look into the automation coverage rather than just focusing on manual, because we also need to optimize the cost and effort in terms of STs, because they were assigned. So we wanted to utilize and challenge automation team also to start creating those kind of tests, so that the next time if the common functionality comes into the picture, we don't really rely on QA manual testers, but also through the automation, like the daily smoke test. So I think providing those kind of awareness, creating a streamlined process for everyone, it really helped team as a whole together raise their confidence. And we increase the operational efficiency definitely by, I would say, 40-50% in each sprint.
Okay, operational decision making. Tell me about a time when you handled like a situation where your tried and true solution didn't seem to work, and what did you do to manage that?
So I like to take the very recent example after this second phase deployment in production. Uh, we did not have a lot of issue in terms of the like the high critical customer impact, but we started having a lot of Splunk monitoring noise, which was here and there impacting a lot of customer in terms of their feature enrollment and registration. Like we have delivered this new product service of accident response, where customer through their mobile app comes, enroll the feature, register, activate their phone devices, and then we as a progressive we start collecting their data, and based on that data collection we monitor and provide some discount in their premium as well. Also provided the crash related support and on road assistance kind of stuff. So when we started getting those kind of Splunk issues in production, and which was also creating a lot of effort from production platform teams. So there was a team who used to generally take care of these remedy incident and production customer issues. And because they were not the SMEs in terms of the project, we were the SMEs, so this was getting very overwhelmed for them. So what they requested, because it was a high business demand, so they requested if that opportunity we as a ARE team can take and can help SM teams to resolve those daily remedy incidents tickets, or also the problems which is coming in Splunk log monitoring from production support perspective. And I think it was very challenging because there were hundreds of the tickets coming. I think in the first few weeks there were like a lot of hundreds of tickets coming daily basis. They were having common issues, but it was taking a lot of effort from SM teams because they were not aware of the application code functionality, the different triggers, and how the solutions or the steps needs to be provided for that kind of resolution. So when this request came to our project, I and my Scrum Master took a lead to create an on-call process, because our parallel work was still going on for the new enhancement in the sprint work, like the new planning. But we also needed to take this kind of operational change to accomplish, because of course the customer impact and the customer issues happening in production was the high priority for the sponsors and the business owners. So we created this on-call process where every sprint, which lasts for 2 weeks, we have dedicated dev person, and also QAs and tech leads would work as a SMEs to provide that kind of guidance. Because initially we took that step to understand what kind of information SM rep agents needed, or SM platform teams. We understood their requirement. We understood why the operational changes needed to support them. Then we created a clear plan in terms of documentation, where we will be providing the steps, like how every time a dev is coming on call process, like in a rotation, what kind of steps they need to perform, like what kind of high priority tickets they need to look, whether incident remedy tickets or the Splunk monitoring, and what kind of priority based tickets they need to take their work on, deciding the urgency and the priority. So by providing that particular documentation, and then to provide the common solutions, like for example, if 10 customers on a particular day coming, like they are not able to enroll, or they are not able to register into the devices. So these kind of issues were common in terms of high level description, but the actual technicalities when we were doing the root cause analysis, it was not very clear. So we provided those kind of common solution also. For that, we also created the knowledge based articles for not just our dev team, but also to help rep agents. And I think within 2-3 weeks, by having this kind of documented, it really helps dev teams that every new person was coming, because not every dev was aware of this on-call process earlier. It was new thing for them, and they also need to manage their own sprint work, development, implementation work along with this new on-call process. So by providing that kind of documentation, it really helped them to have that operational efficiency to do their daily job assignment in terms of looking into the remedy incident tickets, resolving them, providing that situation. And also they went, by providing that kind of initial information, that really helped them to go a step ahead for creating few of the PBIs on like new user story, where they could do the implementation of monitoring log improvement, so that problems can be avoided for the future noise of future production support. So I think collectively within the one month we were able to resolve 100 plus remedy tickets, and that not just increase the operational efficiency for SM resources, like the production support resources, by 30-40%, but we were also reduce the upcoming remedy incident in the similar kind of situation. So that was a big win for our project team. Because I think a domain and the right direction with the right information is very crucial, and I think that played a big part to let a team handle those situations or those kind of issues independently, whether without having like less supervision, I would say.
Next section, creating a culture of trust. Sometimes it's challenging to give a direct report honest feedback. Tell me about a time when you told a direct report that you thought when you told a direct report what you thought they wanted to hear rather than the truth.
Yeah, I think creating a culture of trust and fostering them, it's very important to first build that kind of trust and rapport, and to also understand the strength and the areas of growth for your team. And I think in my past experience when I was working as a supervisor to multiple QAs in my team, there was couple of resources. Especially there was a guy who was not working efficiently because of some personal challenges which I came to know later on. So for the very first few sprints he was doing great work, but I think in the mid cycle he was not performing up to the mark. So when I observed him, I had a one-to-one conversation with him because it was also the annual appraisal time coming very close to. And based on that, because it's not just important for me to do that kind of rating, but also seeking that as a personal development for your team, because it's a continuous cycle, and it's not like one project to come for a conclusion or completion, but also it's a continuous process. Like whenever they go, they need to think about what kind of strength they can better apply in their upcoming work, and also they can always improve themselves based on their personal development, whether it's a career aspiration to go on a promotion, or continue working great in their current work. So in that same situation, he was not working up to the mark in the mid cycle, and the appraisal cycle was coming close. So I had one-to-one meeting with him, and I explained to him like where are the different strengths he was working on, which we were very happy with his performance, but there were a lot of area of improvement needed in terms of communication, and also how to delegate the information on different forums, like team meetings where he is providing the status, but he was not providing the status in an appropriate manner. And sometimes that information and the communication is very important to convey the thought, like what you have been doing versus what is being heard by the other members of the team or the other project managers. So I focus on those kind of area of improvement. And he was a little hesitant earlier, that he thought that he was doing a great job, but I provided few examples like where we really found that these were the things not moving in the right direction, even you were really doing the hard work at the back of the drop. So by providing that kind of feedback, he seek out some inputs like how he can improve. So I provided some direction to him. I also worked with him to assign some communication trainings which he took. He learned those kind of learnings from the training, and he started applying that. So by the time we were towards the end of that year, I really saw an improvement in terms of the communication he was doing in the team meetings and also in his work. And while he continuously seek my feedback for the initial few times, that if he is doing okay, and I provided that kind of guidance further, that if something he needs, he can always come to me, because I think creating that kind of confidence within that person is also very important by providing the right direction, and also giving a constant support and feedback time to time, because that way we can keep monitoring their progress, their improvements, and also boost their confidence altogether. So I think keeping that transparent and open communication, I think, was the key, which not just let him open with me to talk about all the personal and professional concern which might be not helping him and he needs improvement. And I think that was very important, and I think he felt confident. He really shared those kind of feedback with me also, that I was never have that kind of open conversation in my past managers, but he really feel confident in terms of getting that kind of conversation done with me.
Okay, great. Okay, creating an inclusive environment. What have you done to expose your department to other perspectives and ideas?
Can you explain? Maybe I couldn't get the question clear.
Okay, so like, what have you done to help your department see different, just perspectives or ideas of yourself or other people?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, like in my past industry experience, and even in this is particular project also, I think I work as a SME, so that is very important in terms of, providing the prompt responses to the teams, and whenever they struggle with giving that kind of direct communication and direct uh, information, so that it can help them to unblock those kind of obstacle and hindrance. Now this has been a daily practice for everyone who is working as a QA lead, but what I took a different approach here is, first, the documentation is really a great help every time. Like when a new person comes, or even the dev people who are working but they need some kind of information, I had created SharePoint documentation where we have all the onboarding documentation, technical documentation, the Splunk query which we use on day-to-day basis, and providing these small details in a common repository really helps them to optimize their time effectively. Also, we have a separate solution team channels where every time if our QA architect, sorry, if our IT architects have some question with respect to the sponsor, the product owners, they always ask us, and I am the lead who is resolving all those questions, so that our QAs from their day-to-day work are not really impacted with these things. Because when it comes on those questions from IT architects or the enterprise architects, it becomes a high priority. So people used to leave their work and start working towards that kind of questions. So I also divided that time and work effectively, so that if something is coming out of the normal process and work, I take that lead with my IT teams, tech leads, and the external platform or vendor teams, so that our teams is not really disturbed with their parallel work going in daily sprint work. And if needed, something I don't know where team is currently working, they can provide, I always involve them. So by providing these kind of approach, I'm not just saving their time to utilize effectively, but I'm also creating that kind of process that any new information comes, I just share that on SharePoint, so it is useful for people in the future aspect also, which is very important, because information is such a key thing. We don't pay much attention on day-to-day basis, but every minor details is very important, and documenting that thing to be referred by teams outside the team is very important. It's not just save your effort, but it also save a lot of time for everyone's. And I think automation was also one area where what I did is leading that effort, because initially automation was not really doing a great job because of some domain gap or knowledge, or maybe the proactiveness they were not showing. So when in the first phase I started seeing that kind of gap was happening, where manual QAs were also involved, and manual QAs were finding early defects rather than STs, automation regression or a smoke test. We found the gap why these situations were happening, and by including everyone from automation, our QAs and tech lead, we also created lot of system integration PBIs as part of our Scrum process, that every time a new feature is coming, individual user story, or we call PBI, can be completed. If something we get early opportunities for automation team to work on those system integration tests as part of new user story, I think it will be very effective towards the end of that sprint work, because there are a lot of things where dev unit test or the QA efforts might not be able to cover, because it involves a lot of efforts. But I think including those kind of things in automation is really a good success rate, I would say. So I think having that kind of operational fed with the operational change, automation was able to cover a lot of things, which not just reduce manual QA's time for testing, but also we started finding those defects early in the cycle. So I think these are few example which keeps me apart from the other people, because I'm always thinking on the bigger picture, not just the sprint work, and putting efforts on the small details which play important and big role actually in terms of not just the cost but time and effort also. And I think my devs and my architect and tech leads also says me as a go-to person, that anytime if they need anything, Namrata is the first go-to person. So that kind of confidence and a rapport I have gained in my team, not just in terms of the business acumen but also as part of technical skill set.
All right. So describe your proudest accomplishment at work. Why was it such a positive experience for you?
So I think since we interact with a lot of other cross-platform teams in this project, and having keep in mind that there are so many moving wheels every day, I have achieved this project up to the mark where we did not have lot of defect in the second phase in terms of the kind of quality work we did, because laying out that good foundation is very important for everything, not just in IT but everywhere you go. So laying out that good foundation in terms of the knowledge, the skill set, the required effort is very important. And I think I always lead by example to set those kind of details to my team, creating that kind of culture of trust that anytime they need any information, they can always come with an open and transparent communication, not just to me but with my team. And it's a very open team, like very dynamic team where we work on a very high pace environment where there are multiple moving parts going in terms of the sprint work, the production support, the vendor support. So I think collectively whatever we have achieved as part of quality control, which was a huge contributor to this project's success, because even automation was playing a good role later on when we decided to include 100 plus scenario and 7,000 unit tests. I think the way QAs were working on the kind of knowledge I shared with them to do their day-to-day effective job, I think collectively it really plays an important role, because right now even our project everybody says that because of the QA work we are doing, it's always a high boosting confidence that we won't be having a lot of issue in production. So I think that's a takeaway I take from this project, that laying out that good foundation and always working on the constant improvements, not just in the QA cycle, not in the QA process, but also the automation and in the overall project success. So that is, I think, I feel like that's the biggest milestone. And since I am working in this project from last 3 years, I think I gain a lot of business acumen, which really helped me to be answerable in a very timely and effective manner to everyone. I think that saves a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Do you have any questions for me? That was my last question for you.
Yeah, so I would like to know for this role, like, is there like the single team of Scrum, or there will be multiple teams? Like, what would be the career path of this role actually?
So this right now, as a manager, you would be leading or managing 2 smaller teams of
Okay.
Scrum that do Scrum. There are about 9, I think we have on each team. So a QA, BSA, and then 4 devs
Okay.
on each team. So yeah.
And this
So
role
about
is
6 and 6.
and this role is purely for the BFDs, or there will be some other web presence team involvement also as part of?
No, it truly is. Those 2 teams are for BFD. Obviously, we have overlap with some other teams, like our SM teams, as well as, like you just said, the web platform. There's definitely some overlap there, but for this specific focus, it is for the BFD.
Okay.
Work.
Okay.
But you
Yeah.
do work with the other teams.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's all from my side right now. And thank you so much for taking time to interview me. I really look
Yeah.
forward to hear good things and positive aspect.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right.
Natasha,
Okay.
bye.
Have a good
Yeah, you
day.
too.
Okay. See ya. Uh huh.